remember I was walking down a road once and I saw a white 318 IS that had like some basket weaves and it was lowered a little bit. And I didn't know anything about E30s, but I saw that car and I was like, that thing's beautiful. It was just like love at first sight. Sounds really dorky, but that's honestly what it was. Anytime I would see one, like, you know, you hear the term breaking necks, and literally that's what would happen. I was just so excited to see one that I would, you know, I would freak out. I had this love affair with Nissans, and as soon as I bought my first E30, it just changed really quickly. Initially, it was, I loved how they looked, and I loved the styling of them, and then I started to fall in love with how they performed and how they drove. So. My name is Braden Dye, and I drive a 1989 BMW 325 IS. E30 is the chassis code from the BMW 3 Series from 1981. Depending on if you have a convertible, it's 93, I think was the last year that they made the convertible in the E30. I've owned 10, at least 10, probably more E30s. In the last 3 years, I went from having one and thinking like, this was a fun car, maybe I'll get another one, to immediately buying one the day that I sold my first one. And from then it just turned into an addiction. You know, having one wasn't enough. Up until 6 months ago, I've always owned like 2 at a time. My 318 was what taught me how to drive, really. You know, I always thought that I knew how to drive, but until I started actually driving that car hard, that's when I realized, I was like, wow, I really don't know what I'm doing. And that car taught me how to downshift and to rev match and to hill toe, and you know, it taught me what understeer was, and it taught me what oversteer was, and it taught me how scary it is to go off the road. The E30 just offers so much more for a driving experience. I just don't think in a million years, if I were to try to design a car, I could build something as good as the E30. You know, they don't have a ton of power, but they handle, and you can be going the speed limit and it's still a fun car to drive. I didn't really ever know that there was like a big following of E30s. I bought my car and I obviously started seeing more of them because I started to learn more about it. I would drive by an In-N-Out and I would always see some European cars there on Wednesday nights. I was always a little bit nervous to go because I was like, I'm not gonna know anybody there. I'm just gonna show up and stand by myself and look at my own car, and you know, I'll be like that guy who just like drives up and walks around for a second and then leaves. But I showed up to one of our local Euro car meets and everybody was really nice. You know, even though my car wasn't the cleanest, I got a lot of compliments from people, and there was a couple other people there who owned E30s. It kind of just exploded from there. The more that I attended these meets, the more that I realized that there was like a big following. There were, you know, people who had E30 M3s that were worth $100,000. You know, I never once felt like they were superior to me, even though their cars were so much nicer or so much more expensive. I feel like E30s have gained a lot of popularity. There's people who own a lot nicer cars, who own Porsches, who own Lamborghinis or whatever, and they buy E30s for some reason. I don't know if it's just because the cars that have been being built for the last little while just aren't offering what they used to, or if it takes people back to, you know, a different time in their life. This car, I'm definitely the most attached to it, and I don't know why. It's a car that I hope I can have when I'm like 50 and it'll have 1 million miles on it and my kids will be able to drive it under my supervision. I just hope that I will continue to be able to maintain it so that it will be the car that it is right now.